Hello everybody and welcome back to Ruler 101. This week is a special week because we have a very special ruler, or rulers I should say. Of course, I'm talking about the ruler that is 2 J rulers in one package, Pandora, girl of the box. There she is, sparkling, all super beauty. Look at her, such a wonderful vanilla ruler. Her J activate is 1 white, 1 black, and 3. And she can actually flip into one of 2 different rulers. I think she saw a lot of play when she was released, but I'm not completely sure. As a ruler, it's really cool because the official rules state that you don't actually have to tell your opponent which J ruler she's flipping into. Like, you don't have to announce that before the game starts. And I find that really cool because you could be like, ooh, which one do I have? Because they're both actually really solid for rulers. Like, they have super strong enter abilities, but their stat line isn't the best. But their enter abilities are honestly devastating. Like, they can really shift the entire momentum of the board. But it does cost 5 to J activate, so let's see what she turns into. See if it's worth it. First of all, Pandora of Light. 400-800, Light J Ruler. Just enter. Destroy all resonators. Okay. So, pretty basic, pretty simple, pretty easy. She enters, she wipes the entire board, with the exception of other J rulers, so you might run into some trouble there. However, being able to just have this on your J ruler is extremely strong. Like, other J rulers that wipe the board in some fashion, like Alice, like Dark Alice, have been pretty strong. Now, how to put it? Her stat line is pathetic. But then again, this was a time when that stat line wasn't terrible. So, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. At the time, it was really cool. I'd love to see an Ascended version, especially an Ascended version of both. But her other J ruler is, in my opinion, the better one, both from the thematic and from the effect. Pandora of Dark. Whoa, look. She went all Twilight and dyed her hair blonde. Yeah, no more pinkish purple to me. But anyway. 400-800, Dark J Ruler. Enter. Your opponent discards all cards from his or her hand. That is really strong. Like, being able to just empty your opponent's hand on a J Ruler flip is awesome. Like, if they don't stop it, they're going to be in a world of hurt. Like, it's going to be really bad for them. I definitely say this is the better, like, of the 2. Also because it's just, like, all midnight-like, and it's all dark, and it's got the cool dark thematics. I'm kind of sad about the hair, though, because the purple was cool. The purple, red, whatever color it is a pretty cool hair color. But I don't know, I guess they were going for like a Twilight look, and I guess they definitely succeeded. I don't know. Anyway, I should jump into her support cards. But before that, I'd actually like to touch on a couple of her, specifically 2 of her other forms. Now, she has seen print in tons of different, like, she's been, I think, 5 or 6 resonators, all throughout all the clusters. And as a character, she's been pretty important to the story. She's just really she's one of the more underrated characters, but as far as character involvement, she's definitely really underrated in my opinion. Like, that's Milliam's mom. I mean, there you go. She created that one. But aside from that, it's, I don't know, she just gets super glossed over, and it's sad, and I hate it. But what are you gonna do? People like who they like, and I guess Lumia's the better one. So, whatever, it's fine. Even though Lumia totally ripped off the light and dark thematic, just saying, Pandora had it first. Fight me. Let's see. Where is it? Aha! There we go. Pandora, goddess of light and dark. There's the resonator I was looking for. There we go. Black and white. One black, one white, specifically. For a 5/7. Whenever this card attacks, force 1, if you'll remember. Force is where you roll whatever number of die is the die. A number of die equal to the force number, and then you do an effect based off that number. But in this case, your opponent loses X hundred life, where X is the result of the roll. So normally you're going to get 3 or 4 on average, and losing 300 life or 400 life is really freaking cool. Like, just swinging and making your opponent lose that is pretty awesome. Like, just as a, because 1 and 2, you're kind of meh, but 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all really nice. Because you might not think it, but that damage actually will impact the game. But she has another ability as well. Whenever this card blocks, force 1. You gain X hundred life, where X is the result of the roll. So if you're using her defensively, she's going to gain you life. And it's pretty cool that she has force, because another card from her that was printed also uses force. Specifically, she enhances force. Pandora, the Hope-Weaving Queen. She's a 200-1000. If you would roll 1 or more dice using force, roll that many dice plus 1 instead. This effect stacks. You can keep going, and for every Pandora you have, or for every Hope-Weaving Queen you have, you will get to roll 1 more dice. Just having one of these on the field makes Pandora of Light and Dark makes her attack super worth it. Because your opponent is going to be losing so much life on every swing, it doesn't matter if you're getting through or not. Like, even if they're chumping, you are in a super good spot because they're still taking damage and losing resonators. She's got a couple other ones. Forget what they are. Just because they're not super relevant. There's one Pandora that I think she has an awakening that searches out the Grim buff ruler. Not the ruler, but the Grim resonator that gives +2/+2 to the board. Then there's another one who's a Will of Hope ruler. Or a Will of Hope resonator. And whenever a card you control whenever a resonator you control blocks, it gets a +1/+1 counter. And all Will of Hope and you unseal all light. All seal, the seal abilities of all light cards. Seal was something that, I don't know. Seal was a funky mechanic. Basically, it was in Echoes of the New World, I think it was. Yeah, I think that was it. But basically, you had it would unlock an ability once you had a certain number of stones, or if you had something that released the seals. So it was a little weird precursor to the sealed items, I think. But besides that, it's kind of meh. I don't really want to see it again. It wasn't that fun of a keyword because there were certain cards that were bonkers with it, but at the same time, most of them felt like they weren't super worth it. That's basically it for the Pandora. Pandora resonators. Quick mention for the Pandora Golem ruler. May she rest in peace after not getting any support in the sets that followed the first one. So much potential. So wasted. So sad. So very, very sad. But anyway, she does have one chant that supports her. It's a ruler It's a ruler champ, as in it gains extra effects if you're using Pandora as your ruler. Spiral of Despair. 2 darkness, spell champ. Your opponent discards 2 cards. If your ruler is Pandora, Girl of the Box, or if your J ruler is Pandora of Light or Pandora of Dark, he or she discards 2 cards at random instead. That is a super powerful ability, because if you remember Lapis's Dark Storm that got played all the time and still gets played, that makes you discard 1 and then randomly discard another one? No, you randomly discard 1 and then you discard another. Like, that is so good. Basically, random discard is super powerful because it can hit. It's not as strong as looking at your opponent's hand and choosing one. However, getting 2 cards out of your hand while only playing 1 card from yours is amazing. You could really put your opponent behind with this. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. It is a really good card when you're using Pandora. She had Pandora's box of light or something. I don't know. It was an addition that removed cards from the top of your library, and then you could banish it to put an addition or a resonator that you removed with it into the field. It wasn't too. It's not that good. I'll be real honest. Now that I think about it, it's pretty bad. Just because it costs 3, and then you have to wait till the beginning of your next turn, and then it's removing cards until you hit something that you want. So, whatever you don't want, basically kiss it goodbye forever, even if you just don't need it at that time. So, rip. That does it for Pandora support cards. Yeah. That's basically it for her support in general. There wasn't a lot of direct support being printed for rulers at this time. It was mostly just based on resonator interactions and that sort of thing. Usually the ruler would get 1 or 2 cards. But besides that, just having Pandora in general as your ruler is really strong, and her decks are super varied between the two, just because of their enter effects. Now, I will admit, the deck that you would build for, say, for Pandora of Darkness and of Light, very different. Very, very different. And Pandora of Light is very similar to the Jean list I showed you, in that it uses resonator spam and a lot of low-cost resonators, so you can replace your board quickly after you flip, as well as running Jean. Because if you have a Jean, and it can't be destroyed, and you flip, their stuff dies, Jean lives, oh wow. Also because it's an enter ability, you're flipping, and she's on the field, so if you have 2 Jeans, your Jeans aren't destroyed. Yay! I would also run Spiral of Despair only in the Pandora of Light deck. Maybe run it in the Pandora of Dark deck just so you have early game discard. But if you run like a discard heavy deck with Pandora of Dark, discard isn't something that you can have tons of and just keep playing it, because at some point they're going to be top decking. And at that point, having them discard is irrelevant, because whatever that card is, they're going to be playing it on their turn. You might run a little bit, or maybe like some thought controls, just so you can get that turn 1 or turn 2 discard to soften up their hand. But really, once you flip Pandora of Dark, they're done for. They should be done for. And as for Pandora of Light, like I said, resonator spam. Resonator spam and John. There you go. With Spiral of Despair, as well as some other discards, just to capitalize on Spiral of Despair, then go for a little bit of a discard strategy with Pandora of Light. Then if they actually manage to stick anything, you could flip Pandora of Light, and boom, their stuff's gone. immediately. Boom, easy. Now, I actually have 3 deck lists for you guys today. I have one for Pandora of Light, one for Pandora of Dark, and one for both of them. I dipped a little into the alternative format called Epic Stories, where you get to choose 2 J-Rulers and run them in a deck. And I couldn't find anywhere that said you couldn't run the same ruler. However, I just couldn't find it anywhere. It's not in their CR whether or not you have to choose different rulers. However, I would consider them different rulers just because they flip into different J rulers. But even if not, whatever. You play that format for fun. Yeah, I realized that in Epic Stories, you're always going to go really late. So going really late and having both your Pandora's enter abilities, as well as the significant absence of anything that can stop their enter abilities, it's pretty good. Like, you get one Pandora flip off, then the next turn you flip the other Pandora. Your opponent's just like, what the fuck do I do? The stuff's gone. All my resonators. All my hand. No. Honestly, I'd probably hit the hand and then the resonators, because then they're going to be like, well, my hand's gone. I might as well play whatever I have. And then they play it, and then you flip Pandora of Light, banish your Pandora of Dark, honestly, admittedly, and then the enter ability triggers and explodes the board. Go team. They really work well off of each other, and you can build a pretty decent light darkness deck. So, let's bring them out in order. First of all, let me pull up what their name is. Aha! Pandora of Light. Boom. Hope will cleanse the world. Resonator spam. Low cost. Abusing that force mechanic. So, and that's her deck. Then we have Pandora of Dark. Will of my hopeful despair. I don't know. I named them weird because it's her, and I based it off her flavor text and what they're called, and that it's stupid. But you see more of a control-y type deck. Again, as I say every Ruler 101, these are just bases. Feel free to evolve them and change them and come up with your own thing. I know I recently got a really, really good suggestion on my last video where it was like, Ho-Oh Pig, activate it, then I forget what it was, but it was some ridiculous combo where you like, you did Ho-Oh Pig just for having Ho-Oh Pig, and you got it back. I don't know. But besides that, then we have the combination, which I have personally dubbed Multiple Personality Disorder, because you're playing the same ruler. She's the same person, but radically different and scary. I like that the light one, the one that's all filled with hope, destroys everything. Meanwhile, the dark one just destroys your opponent. Something to think about. Anyway, that does it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'd love to know what you think about that Epic Stories list, or if you have an actual rules clarification, because I looked through the CR and there's nothing about not being able to have the same ruler. So as far as I know, you can just pick the same ruler. But it might be one of those unwritten things or something. Maybe the J ruler itself has to be different, but who knows? Because I'd love to do me a double Al-Hamad deck. You know, get all the mana. Oh, baby. I could probably do it with Al-Hamad and, what's his name? Steam Lord. Steam Boy. Yeah, Steam Boy. Besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please, I would love to know what you guys think about these decks, or your experiences with Pandora. And maybe some comments of sympathy for our dearly departed Yondir, tiny one, Angry Pandora Noises for Life. Rest in peace. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!